Bitcoin could fall to 77,000. Big drop, like 30% drop from here, right? I'm going to show you guys my opinion because does that mean no Lambo? Does that mean no bags? Well, no, it does not mean that. I'm going to show you guys my opinion on it, guys. Remember, everything I say in this video is my own personal opinion, not financial advice. But I'm going to go over that topic of Bitcoin potentially coming down to 77K. What is the likelihood of that based on my opinion, and just what can reassure us that, we may not go down to there, but if we do, what can we be looking for, right? So there's been word, a few different news media has been talking about Bitcoin potentially coming down to 77K. That can be like they say right here, a 30% dip. Is that right here, 30% dip? Is that possible? Well, like I said, I'm gonna go over that in just a moment here. But real quick, first few things I want to say here is Bitcoin carnage comes as gold hits new all-time highs. There's also been word of Bitcoin somewhat following Bitcoin in a delayed manner. That's very, very interesting. If you actually look back at Bitcoin on the bigger picture compared to Bitcoin, there is quite a bit of similar movements. And if this holds true, we can see Bitcoin skyrocket to new all-time highs soon, if that's possible. And if that holds up, we may not see 77K, but that's not really what I want to talk about though. And then MicroStrategy offers $2 billion to buy more Bitcoin. Pretty interesting stuff in my opinion. But this fear of 77K, and I'm going to repeat things in this video that I repeat in a lot of videos because reminders are very, very important. But if you consider 77K from the current level, this can look like more like 20%. So I think it's 30% from all-time high. From current levels is 20% down, right? But what is the likelihood? Are there any signs that we could potentially come down to that area? So I'm going to go over the likelihood of that, and then I'm going to go over why I personally think it may not happen, and if it does, what I'm personally going to be doing to take advantage of that opportunity, so I'm not just left without a Lambo, right? So basically 77K down, right? So that would be, again, right here. What do we have here in this level? So I'm going to mark it so I don't keep forgetting where it's at. So it's basically right here in this line. So what is the likelihood of it coming down to here? Well, first of all, really there isn't much to it. RSI keeps showing strong support within this overall structure right here. We'll have to have like terrible news. The jobless claims that's supposed to come out tomorrow should be just way out of the favor of potentially lowering rates. And if it comes in super, super good, which means there's a lot less people losing their jobs, less people trying to claim jobless, and that's going to influence Jerome Powell from the head of the Federal Reserve to want to go ahead and maybe potentially make it easier for him to continue to hold rates or potentially raise rates as well, and that can be very, very bad. And you know what? That's good enough to cause the price to come down. But besides these two things too, we have some imbalance, and you guys know if you've been watching for, I love imbalances. Imbalances, in my opinion, tend to get filled pretty much like 9 out of 10 times in Bitcoin. We've seen a plenty. I'm not going to go over them. I've gone over them so many times already this week. But we do have imbalance down here. We had one here got filled. We had one down here that wasn't filled, and that's well above this 77K mark. So it makes it a little bit easier to potentially reach that. But if we continue to go down lower, this imbalance was filled, but we have some consolidation right here. As we moved up, we had more consolidation within this level. As you can see, a little bit of support was found right here, and we continue to move higher. Usually zones of consolidation tend to act as a magnet in the future as well. But this is way far down here. If we would have seen that being filled, I feel like we would have seen that already. All of the interest rate cuts and keeping it steady, all that has been pretty much factored into the price already. We've had a FOMC meeting today that just reiterated that. We've seen the price hold strongly during this time. And if you consider the current structure we're in, so I'm going to be supporting my thesis on why we may not go down there at this moment. But we've seen the price max out right here, and then it came down, creating a low right here. We had our fib extension supportive area get filled very, very nicely, and then we saw a rally upward. We had an overshooting B wave, and if you guys understand the way I've traded, you've been watching for a while, you understand that if I see overshooting B waves, I most likely want to see a lower overall low from the previous major swing low as a C wave. Instead, the C wave was actually higher. As you can see, the lowest we've gone after the B wave was all the way down here, and we maxed out this fib supportive extension area as well before rallying up and then starting this sideways consolidation. So if we had this higher C wave, which is higher than this swing low right here, and we're holding the level strong, and then the next fib extension got filled and it was respected, and we started pushing up higher, you know, if all of this Fed rates was factored in, um, that's why we're seeing this. But if it wasn't factored in and the market is expecting things to get much worse instead of it just trying to stay the same and slowly improve over time, well, we would have seen the price come down. If none of this was factored in, if this structure was weak enough, we would have seen, yeah, sure, we can find a little bit of support right here because we did go up a lot and then come down a lot. So it's fine to see a corrective rally, which is fine, like I said. But if we were really in a high likelihood of coming down to these 77K levels that a lot of these articles are talking about, we would have seen this sideways structure weaken like days ago, and we would have seen the price continuing to move down and creating a new low from here, another low, and then finally breaking below this one. Instead, we're seeing the structure hold very strongly, and this has to do with a lot of the background buying involved in Bitcoin. This has to do with a lot of the the background buying creating a stronger foundation. More states, governments, companies are looking to buy, and the ones that already been buying continue to accumulate more. So if that's happening, it makes sense that, yeah, we saw a higher C wave than this previous low right here, and we're holding the level strong. We're holding it quite well. And with today's FOMC meeting, price is holding strong and it's going up a little bit more. It may hit this short-term resistance at 97.2. So the likelihood of the price coming down to this 77K level, in my opinion, is just so small that it shouldn't create so much fear, and it really isn't creating as much fear as anticipate, or when you look at all these articles, it's not really creating as much fear as it's making itself out to be. But say we were, right? Let's say we were to come down into this level and we don't reach this next resistance area, try to find consolidation there to build up bullish momentum and go up to our next target area right here within this imbalance that has not been filled just yet. And an imbalance within somewhat of a uptrend, because we have a high here, we have a higher high, we got the low right here, we have a higher low, and we still have another higher low here. So we are still technically in an uptrend, and in this sideways consolidation pattern, we continue to see strength being built by the price consolidating in the discounted area of the overall stage, right? So it makes sense to me that we're going to be moving up higher, more likely than the possibility of coming down. And, this imbalance area makes more sense than a very small imbalance area down here that isn't supported by much. So, but, at the end of the day, let's say we do end up finding weakness. To say tomorrow that report comes out to be super bad and in favor for like being long on these growth assets, and instead the price comes down or something happens in the world and the price just starts coming down like crazy, right? The likelihood of the price staying down here for long is so small, basically non-existent, that any weakness that we find below this overall structure should be just yelling, just buy me, great buying opportunities, super deep value. Because if we have all this bullishness strengthening the foundation of Bitcoin, which is the supply and demand asset at the end of the day, there's no reason for prices to drop that much. And if it were to, it won't last very long. So any load I'm gonna be buying, you guys can bet I'm gonna be buying like crazy, and just waiting for the pump up, which shouldn't take long. So really, guys, just to sum up this video, there's no reason to fear. I strongly believe that, you know, the likelihood of us coming up and going back up past 100K is much, much more in favor than the possibility of us coming down to this level. And at the end of the day, too, if you consider any outflows in Bitcoin that have been accumulating, the outflows that have been all the outflows that have been building up have been quickly getting souped up real quick by all the inflows. So the outflows are just being disappeared by all the inflows super quick. And soon enough, I do believe that, the likelihood of us coming up to another all-time high, next leg up area up here, it's much more likely than us coming down to here. But at the end of the day, if we do come down to here, I'm gonna be buying. Oh, I'm gonna be buying, and I'm gonna be buying not just Bitcoin, but I'm gonna be buying BITU, because I'm gonna be going hard into this, because it makes sense, the possibility of this, but it makes more sense the possibility of this. So guys, I just hope this video made sense. I hope you guys are prepared if that does happen to take advantage of it, because it will be a very quick V-shaped recovery in my opinion. And if it doesn't happen, which I believe it won't, but we will see, then I hope you guys have exposure for when Bitcoin begins to climb higher, because I believe it's more likely. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.